We're calling this the day the earth stood still. So, Madan, you were talking about this great movement and this great wisdom of the Vedic age. Now, how does that relate to the earth standing still?
Well, the incarnations of God are progressive throughout the ages. If you go back 1.7 million years, you have Lord Ram, and the famous story is the Ramayana. And Sita is kidnapped by Ravana. Famous story. And this was God manifesting as Lord Ram, and he was the greatest king that ever lived.
Mm.
Technically, he was known as Maryad Purushottam, means the ultimate personification of proper conduct for a king, for a husband, for a warrior. He did everything perfectly, and he ruled the earth for 11,000 years.
Wow.
That was 1.7 million years ago.
Cool.
And this one would interest the evolutionists. He raised an army of monkeys. They were talking monkeys. They were civilized monkeys. But it sounds a bit like Narnia, but this was 1.7 million years ago. In a previous age, it was the world was different. Okay, so moving forward, um, his next direct incarnation, Krishna, 5,000 years ago, he was known as Leela Purushottam, the ultimate personification of pastimes. So he brought his ultimate spiritual destination, the 12 forests of Brudge, to Earth, 64 square miles, these beautiful forests, and we go out on pilgrimage to visit these places. They're not all beautiful forests now, but there's something
Yeah, sure,
remaining of
sure,
them in
sure,
northern
sure.
India.
Yeah.
It's 5,000 years on, but there's still forests there. It's still somewhat beautiful, but nothing like it would have been 5,000. Anyway,
Mm.
it was the spiritual world. And when he came again in his most significant incarnation, bearing in mind that all of the incarnations are progressive, he came as Prema Purushottam, the ultimate personification of pure love. Now, we have this word love in English. We have one word. In Sanskrit, there are at least 64 words for love, and they're describing pure love. It goes prem, sneha, man, pranaya, um, rag, anurag, bhav, mahabhav, madanakya, mahabhav. It goes on and on.
Yeah, sure, sure.
This is a complete science, but prem means completely selfless love, no self-interest. I don't want anything back from you.
Mm.
You know, if I say, you know, in this world, all our relationships are based on self-interest. We can pretend,
Mm.
you know, I don't have any self-interest, but we get together with people because we're wanting something for ourselves.
Mm.
Prem means selfless devotion. So the personification of selfless devotion is the gopis of Krishna's home village, the gopis of Braj. Topmost gopis, Topmost gopi is Radharani, his female half. He's like the sun, she's like sunshine. They're inseparable, two, one soul, two bodies. So all their parts. So when he came in this mood, her mood, before Krishna, who's the ultimate beloved, he came in the mood of the ultimate lover 500 years ago. Now, this is the link to the day the earth stood still,
Okay, here we go.
because when Lord Ram was here, the earth was overrun by demons 1.7 million years ago. That's why he was called. And he was a warrior. You know, there's one instance in the Ramayana where he's 30,000 warriors come to kill him. Well, because he's God, he just wipes them all out in about 10 minutes, you know, with his bow and
Fantastic.
arrow. I mean, you know, it sounds like fantasy, but he's God,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
he's,
pretty far out.
I mean, he expands into forms that are so vast that universes emanate from their pores. So he's not, you know, he's not an ordinary guy, you
It's
know.
pretty far out. So, how's the earth standing still?
So at the time, Lord Chaitanya came in 1486. He was here for 48 years until 1534. This is the link. There was a Polish astronomer, Nicolaus Copernicus, was born just before Lord Chaitanya and he died just after. So he was his contemporary. So in the Kali Yuga, this is the lowest of the four yugas. Um, the demons, you know, they take control. They seize control of governments. You know, they basically seize control of anything they can get hold of. You know, and you can't really deny it. You know that there's a lot of evil going on. You know, they're forever causing wars, unnecessary wars. They like to cause distress. And they like to. They're terrorists, basically. There's no other real word for it. Um, so when Lord Chaitanya came, there were many different philosophies, and he reconciled all of them and all opposing philosophies to what he was teaching. He defeated them all. No one could, you can't defeat God philosophically. So um, the demons wanted to discredit um, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the topmost 12 cantos of the Bhagavatam. This is the topmost authority. All the Vedas build up to this. This is called the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. The fifth canto of the Vedas describes the cosmology, how the universe works. So they decided to oppose the version. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says very, very clearly that all of the heavens rotate around the pole star. They're constantly turning, moved by the power of time, something like that. But they're constantly turning. And the Earth has a special place because the Earth is static. So when we look up at the sky at night, we see the Earth rotating. And now this is my point, and this is an important point, and it seems to have been missed by a lot of people. Star trail images, photography. So um, now Galileo didn't immediately come out with his theory because it was dangerous. The church would have burned him at the stake. But 100 years after Galileo, after Copernicus, Galileo came with his telescope and he said, look, the Earth is definitely going around the sun. The church didn't have a telescope. They weren't astronomers. They just had a Bible. That was okay. But they kind of went along with it. Um, so he'd reversed what the Vedas had said, and the Bible basically also said that the Earth was static. I don't think it directly says that the stars are revolving around the pole star, but anyway, they had a static Earth and a moving sun. So the sun was moving above the Earth, and that's exactly what it says in the Vedas. So the heliocentric version is that the Earth goes around the sun. Now, there's a problem with that. First of all, there's a speed problem. If the Earth is 93 million miles away from the sun and it orbits the sun once a year, what's how do you work out the circumference of that circle? What is it? It's going to be, what is it, three times, is it pi times uh, anyway, it's about 270 million. Anyway, the
Yeah.
upshot of it is the Earth needs to be moving at 66,600 miles per hour. Now, bear in mind, a bullet comes out of a gun and moves at 1,800 miles an hour. So you're saying they're saying that the Earth is moving 39 times faster than a bullet, something like 80 times the speed of sound. Well, um, does it feel like it is? It doesn't seem to be disturbing anything. If you see a comet going across the sky, it's got a tail on it,
Yep. Yep.
because debris got, if you're in 100-mile-an-hour wind, it will knock down most trees, 200 miles an hour, it will knock down most trees and buildings. But nothing, it's just completely still. Is it meant to be in some sort of big goldfish bowl? How does that even work?
Yep.
It's theoretical. This was a hypothetical concept simply to discredit the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, oh, we're going to say that science says
Mm.
that the Earth is going around the sun, and anybody who says that that the Earth is static and the sun is going around the Earth, that's old hat. So, 100 years after Copernicus, Galileo established. They call him the father of the science revolution.
So what about Copernicus? What was he? Because we just skipped him a little bit. So he's the contemporary of Lord Chaitanya, but what was
He
he
was
saying?
he was an
What was
astronomer.
Copernicus saying?
He wrote a paper. There's some Latin name to it, basically saying that the sun goes round the Earth, but he didn't want that paper published until after his death because he didn't want to be burned at the stake. Um,
So he said the sun goes round the earth.
no, he said the Earth goes around the sun. He was reversing what the Bible and the Vedas say.
Okay,
Because
so he's
he was
saying the
also
earth is going
he
around the
was also
central sun.
he was
Got you.
also a politician. He was a diplomat, and he was also a Freemason.
Yeah,
There is actually a lodge called the Copernicus Lodge, named
sure.
after him.
So then
Um,
Galileo comes later. He's got his telescope, and then science is saying that no, the Earth is revolving around the central sun, and indeed now around if you like, the galactic center, that our solar system is just a small part of the galaxy, which is a very small part of a bigger whole, that there are these cycles. But what the ancient wisdom is saying, the Earth is at the center. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Earth is at the center and static, and the whole universe is revolving round it, which means that the Earth has a prominent central position. It's significant. When the sun is in the center, what's the Earth? It's just a third rock from the sun, isn't it?
Hmm.
It's not so significant. But it not only displaces the Earth from the center, it displaces God altogether, because the Holy Scriptures are somehow proved wrong if they're saying that the Earth is in the center. Oh, that's so the science revolution was considered by many to be the triumph of um, of science over superstition.
Yep.
But I'm going to tell you something, Giles, and this is why the Earth is going to stop still, because we have solid 100% photographic evidence, nothing hypothetical. This isn't theoretical. You can use a camera, point it up at the sky, and you get these wonderful things called at night called star trails. And the scientists tell us, oh yes, those lovely arcs. Where are we? Let me
Now, if you're
give you.
listening to this, I'm going to describe it, okay? But if you're watching, so we've got a beautiful image here of Stonehenge, and we've got this incredible spiraling, circling stars. Beautiful, beautiful image.
So the scientists tell us that you get this image by pointing your camera at the pole, just up into the sky at the pole star.
Mm,
But the curves, these beautiful concentric circles, are formed due to the rotation of the Earth. Now that
right.
sounds reasonably plausible,
Yep.
but if your camera is pointing upwards, uh, and okay, it's rotating slowly. The Earth at the equator, it's going at about 1,000 miles an hour or whatever, but over 6 hours, you get this lovely effect. But if you're simultaneously you're moving sideways at 20 miles a second or 666,000 miles an hour, um, all those points of light, those stars, are just going to turn into a horizontal blur. You're
Yep.
not going to get, um, you know, time-lapse photography. You have a camera on a tripod and the object is moving.
Mm,
They're
mm,
saying that the
mm.
stars are still and the tripod is moving on the Earth, but it's going through one long arc on the Earth at so many hundred miles an hour, and simultaneously orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. So after, say, 6 hours, that would be a quarter rotation of the Earth. The tripod would have moved, what, 400,000, is it 400,000 miles? Six times six. Oh, anyway,
I don't
it
have
will.
my
Yeah,
calculator, but
it
a
will have.
long
It will
way.
have. It will have gone east or west. 400,000 miles. Um, so something's wrong. But now, if you take the geocentric model with the Earth being fully static and all of the sun, moon, stars, all of the planets all just rotating around the pole star, exactly as it says. I'll read you the quote from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, uh, Chapter 23, Verse 2. This is Krishna, this is God speaking. Established by the supreme will of the personality of Godhead, the pole star, which is the planet of Maharaj Dhruva, constantly shines as the central pivot for all of the stars and planets. The unsleeping, invisible, most powerful time factor causes these luminaries to revolve around the pole star without cessation. So it's pretty unambiguous what the topmost holy scripture says. So
So just got a question here, right? So what does science say over the last, so post Galileo, and now that we have, NASA and you know, what is the what, why if this is if people have if you've come up with this idea and other people have, what's the counter argument to that science is saying that we don't we the Earth isn't still?
You have to look at some chicanery that was done uh, very early in the 20th century. Um, Now, there was something called the Michelson-Morley experiment, a pucker experiment to prove the movement of the Earth, because obviously this is the debate was still going on. It wasn't settled
Yeah,
science.
yeah, yeah.
The debate carried on, but all the scientists had gone with Galileo. Hence, we get the, see if I can stretch this over. Oh, do you know what? I plugged my globe in, but anyway, we get the globe, the rotating globe that they showed you in school,
Mm.
and everybody knows the Earth goes around the sun because that's what everybody's told. So the Michelson-Morley experiment, about 1890, they tested this. They to prove that the Earth was moving, they were measuring the speed of light going with the Earth and against the spin of the Earth. So it was a pucker experiment, and they did the experiment. I think they did it 30 times. Every single time, it had a null result. It clearly indicated that the Earth was not moving. So this created a great consternation for the whole science community. Like, that's a bit embarrassing. Oh my God, we can't prove the Earth is moving. Well, so this troubled them for a few years. But then there was this patent clerk from Switzerland, a gentleman by the name of Albert Einstein. 1905, he came up with his special theory of relativity. And he said basically, either, we've got two planets in an infinite universe, and they're just moving in relation to each other. Either the Earth is at rest and the sun is moving, or the sun is at rest and the Earth is moving. But he added to that sentence, but the Earth is definitely going around the sun. So he was obviously with the Galileo Helios. Basically, he was employed to save the face of science. That's what relativity theory was for. But what he actually said was the reason there was no apparent difference in these light beams going different directions is because in proportion to the movement of the Earth, the equipment that was measuring the light beams shrank. The equipment shrank. It's just that, excuse me. But also, that's fantastic enough in itself. But also, the element ether is what light waves and sound waves and radio waves and electromagnetic frequencies. It's the medium that all these frequencies travel through. It was included in the periodic table, the table of elements, um, right up until Einstein. They removed it. It's space. It's all of space. It pervades
Mm.
the entire universe. Einstein, because the ether drift would have caused a difference in the light speed if the Earth was actually rotating and going at all that stuff. He removed the ether. He said, "Oh, there can't be any ether, and the speed of light is a constant, so it doesn't matter. There's no ether for it to travel through or to be slowed down by. So the speed of light is a constant." So they've removed the ether. 1908, from then onwards, no more ether. That's pretty big, isn't it, when you think about it? A
Mm.
little bit cheeky.
But when he said that the equipment shrank, that seems to me an absurdity that I don't I don't see how anyone bought that.
But the thing is, Giles, they wanted the answer. They wanted
Right,
an
right.
answer.
Okay,
He called it
okay.
length contraction. He used, I'm trying to think, he used the Lorentz equation, and it's used throughout physics.
Right.
Basically, it's just a way of fudging results.
Sure,
They might
sure,
as well just call it
sure.
the fudge
So
equation.
so they wanted to achieve something. It's a little bit like, I suppose, sometimes when there's scientific studies done on medical products, shall we say, and they want a certain result.
Yeah, I mean,
So
tobacco
they can
companies.
they can
Yeah,
do the test long enough
yeah.
until they get the result and they say, oh, this is what it was. But
Yeah.
you can also get that same. You can also get the same process that shows the opposite result.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
just
I mean,
they just chose this data,
look,
but they
scientists are
could have
just,
chosen this data. I mean, that's quite
yeah.
well known, isn't it? They use these tricks.
No, scientists are just human beings,
Yeah,
and they're
sure.
guns for sale, the same as anybody else.
Right,
And
right.
Einstein was a very big gun,
Was he?
and they made him very famous. And he wasn't just a scientist, he was the
No,
man of
no.
the century on
Yeah,
Time
yeah,
magazine.
yeah. Right. Fair enough.
Well,
Yeah.
my opinion on that, from what I know now, I'm not disparaging the man because they probably paid him a lot of money. I would call Einstein the con man of the century, frankly,
Wow. What
because
a
he knew that what he was doing was wrong,
wow.
and a film has been made by a very very good American scientist, Dr. Robertson Jenis. He's written a 1,000-page book called um, Galileo Was Wrong, the Church Was Right.
Okay. The 11th
So,
edition. And what's the name of the guy again? If people want it,
Robert Son Jenis,
Son Robert Sungenis has written
yeah,
this book.
and he's made two movies.
He's made two.
Um,
Tell us about the movies if people want a bit more detail on all this.
The
What are the
movies are
films?
the Principal, about 2013. Then
Hmm.
2019, his clinching movie was called Einstein, the Closet Geocentrist. Throughout Einstein's paper, the film quotes Einstein acknowledging that either the Earth, all the measurements and everything that he studied prove either the Earth is moving and the universe is static, or the Earth is in a central position and the whole universe is rotating around it. He
Sure.
acknowledged both things, but he was paid to give a heliocentric result,
So what?
knowing that it
So
wasn't
do you
true.
know what the response has been from the scientific community from these films and this book? Because
Well,
obviously you've come across it, and it relates into the ancient with the ancient Vedic, and not just the Vedic, but other cultures have also believed this. But what are the scientists said about it?
this is the old science versus religion debate, isn't it? It's like Robert St. Genest is a Catholic. He
Right.
describes himself as a Catholic apologist. And to write a book called Galileo Was Wrong, the Church Was Right, you'd have to have some pretty strong convictions.
Right.
Well, and he's on YouTube. You can speak to him. You can hear him speak every Wednesday. Robert St. Jenis live on YouTube. He's a very nice man. I've spoken to him on the phone because I've had some of his DVDs. Um, he's written a paper. This is absolutely. This is where I first heard of him. A paper called Einstein, the Earth Mover.
Yep. There we go. Yep.
Basically, when the Earth wasn't moving, there's a description there of the Michelson-Morley experiment.
Mm.
When the Earth wasn't moving physically, Einstein got it moving mathematically and theoretically. Now, there's another character comes into this, a certain Mr. Nikola Tesla. This is
Yes.
about this is about when the ether is removed in 1908. There's Nikola Tesla. Well, I mean, Tesla was a practical scientist.
Yes.
Einstein was a mathematician.
Sure.
Tesla actually criticized Einstein, saying, yeah,
Mm.
this is all just theory. This is all just
Mm.
num. Because you see Einstein standing in front of a blackboard with all these equations, E equals this over
Mm.
that to the power of that. And you just think, oh my God, I didn't even get my maths O level, Giles. It's like he's obviously a genius. Who can argue with Einstein? Einstein says that, but this part-time gardener from Wales, you know, I mow people's lawns, you know, I used to deliver parcels on a motorbike. He says, no,
Mm. Mm.
Einstein got
Mm.
it wrong.
Mm. Mm.
Einstein
Mm.
didn't get it wrong. Einstein was paid by
Mm.
a certain class of men. I
Yeah.
don't know whether he even knew who they were, but
Wow.
frankly, Giles, when someone's putting a couple of million in your bank account, it tends to kind of sway your kind of, well, I don't really agree with that, but
Sure.
yeah, it's
Sure.
bribery, isn't
Maybe.
it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this
Well,
is
let
obviously
me
this
just
is obviously. I mean, I don't know if
let,
if
let,
there's evidence
let
that he got this money, but
no, no, no,
it's
I don't.
possible. but
But
I'm
he was
open-minded, you know.
he was
But I'm
made
not saying
famous.
personally. I'm not. I wouldn't want to
No,
say
I don't know about
because
the
I don't
money,
know.
Giles, but he was a celebrity in the
Hmm.
50s. He met Marilyn Monroe, you know.
Sure, sure. He played the violin.
That was a funny meeting because he said to her, "With your looks and my brains, you know, we could have amazing children." It turns out that Marilyn Monroe's IQ was higher than his. Marilyn Monroe had a higher IQ than Albert Einstein.
Oh, there we go.
Now, that one more thing about Mr. Einstein is that he was
Yes.
invited to become president of Israel. Now,
Was
what
he
does that tell
really?
you,
Was
Joyce?
he
What
really?
does Oh yeah, what
He
does
was an
that
Austrian, wasn't he?
he was a patent clerk in Switzerland.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know his whole history. He's obviously a Jewish man, obviously. You don't otherwise, you know, they're not going to invite. No, I won't even go there. I don't even want to talk about that very
No,
much. But
no.
we have to understand the succession of people who have been presidents of Israel. Um, I've noticed, and I think some other people have noticed, that they're not following the commandments of Moses, especially the ones about love thy neighbor and
Yes.
thou shalt not kill. It seems to have somehow, you
It
know, I'm
does,
not
but
going to go
let's
there, Giles.
no.
That's not what
We
we're
want to
talking about.
we want to keep this channel on online. We don't want to, but we send love to them all. I think that's
Yeah,
probably the
love them
best
all.
way. Love, we got to love them all.
So
So
Giles,
yeah, so the
I've
day
gone.
the Earth stood still. So what does this mean for people? Just bring it practically. What does this mean if the Earth is standing still?
But the sky just nearly fell in then. Um, I've made a model of the universe in my living room, believe it or not, to demonstrate my point. Um, what this
What
means
does it mean? Yeah, what does it mean
is
practically? What does it mean?
fulfillment. Like the Bible is a book with a happy ending, right? And John, the prophet, in the book of Revelation, he says, behold, the new earth, a new heaven and a new earth. And it's not that they change into something different. It's just that there's a sudden mass shift in human perception
Sure.
because we are no longer standing on the third rock from the sun, moving at 20 miles a second, whizzing around the sun. We are standing on a solid, static earth
Wow.
and looking at the heavens rotating above us around the whole star
Oh. Now, I think you've just frozen there. You were just rotating around the pole star.
Bhagavatam.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
pretty
Now,
major.
just skip back 15 seconds because you
Okay, you
just
froze.
froze. You just froze there. So we're not. You just said we're not the third rock from the sun, and we're watching the movement.
Yeah, we're a static. The Earth is static, and the universe is, and the stars and planets above us are all rotating constantly around the pole star, exactly as it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Well,
Um,
it's. I mean, kind of sounders. It's. My dad phoned me up the other day, and we had a chat, and it was a bit of a mind bender. I'm to be sure. And if you're hearing this information for the first time, maybe your mind is slightly melting as well, and wondering, is this the case? I mean, I'm open-minded, and I think that we all have to be, and just to do our own research and to look into this more, and see what we come up with. You know, because it's far out. It's far out information. I've got it just from my perspective. But I think the world is a mysterious place, and who really knows what's going on? It's deeply mysterious, my friend.
Giles, I'm going to Stonehenge for the summer solstice. There'll be
Mm,
40 or 50,000 people there this coming Saturday, June the
yes,
21st. You know, I've gone to a lot of trouble to make this presentation, to watch the movies. Yes, you watch Robertson Genesis 2 movies, you read just the paper. You can look this up. It's a PDF online, Albert
yep.
Einstein, the Earth Mover, and then
Mm.
you'll actually understand how much cheating and chicanery has gone on, you know, because they not only want to uh, disprove, you know, they basically want to eliminate God. So what's happened in our society in 1982, they did a survey. Three quarters of people believed in God. Uh, 2022, it's less than half, and they put that down to a better understanding of science. Well,
Really?
science is exposed as dishonest. It's,
Yeah.
because it's just doing business. It's just what the demoniac side want is to be able to do business freely without any moral constraint. So that can include war,
Yeah. Yeah.
spreading disease, whatever they want to do. But the whole authority structure collapses on the basis of this. So once they were talking about science has triumphed over superstition, but a lot of what they say is philosophical and hypothetical. What I will
Yes.
say now is 100% definite, Giles. This isn't ambivalent. This is photography has triumphed over philosophy.
There we go.
That whole philosophy is completely nullified by you know, you can say the camera never lies. You can certainly mess around with the images, but well, now they've got AI, they can do anything with damn cameras. But but
Love
basically
it.
anyone with a tripod, you and there's some other technical points, Giles, about how you would main if the Earth was moving. How would you keep the camera? Do you want to see my model of the universe?
Just
Can I?
yeah. I mean, I'll have to describe it to the people on the podcast,
No, I'll show it to you.
but no one will see it if they're listening on the podcast though. But on the video they will. But people are listening to the audio. So here we go. We've got a beautiful
Where are
model
we?
of the universe. It's like an umbrella with some. Oh, that's a lovely. There we go.
Okay, okay. So at the
Yep.
top there, the top of the umbrella is the pole star,
The pole star.
and it's right. I can't rotate it, Giles,
No,
because
that's fine. That's fine.
it's
It's
banging
it's
into my
beautiful.
ceiling. So
No, it's a beautiful
down. If
thing.
you go if you
Yep.
go down,
Here we
I've
go.
got the Gleason's map of the Earth.
There we go. Looks like
Now,
a flat Earth.
well, it's the classic Gleason's map, and when you look at the date on it, this is very, very significant. The Gleason's map was published at the time of just when they had to try to prove the Earth was moving with the
Sure.
Michelson-Morley experiment.
Right. Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
I'm calling this the 2026 Michelson-Narayan experiment.
There we go.
Michelson-Narayan,
Yeah.
my name being Michael, I was born
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
I'm the son of Narayan Maharaj, who
Yeah.
is God personified. Narayan is the name of God. Narayan Maharaj is
Yeah.
his pure and perfect Christ-like representative.
Wow.
Don't ask me why
This is happening. Yeah.
Gardner from
No.
Wales
It,
as somehow talking about something that is going to revolutionise. They're going to have to rewrite the textbooks, Giles. These 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 things, these spinning globe things,
here we go. We've got a spinning
these
globe, people. If
are
you're
going to all have
listening
to
to
go in the
this,
dustbin.
well, they
They're going to have to put them in the moggy museums. When I say moggy, I'm talking about the museums of gross governmental incompetence. They've had it wrong. They've been misleading us.
well,
You
it's
go to, let me finish. Educate these schools, they're just exam factories. They don't teach you how to think. They don't encourage critical thinking. They just tell you what to think. And if you can, be obedient and conformist and remember what they've told you and repeat it at exam time, you get your piece of paper. So these people can go all the way. You can get a PhD in astrophysics
mm,
and not notice that it's actually the sun that's moving and the earth is static. Well, this gardener from Wales. Well, I just questioned something. I read a
yeah,
lot of books. I ask questions. I don't
yeah,
accept anything blindly.
sure.
Show me, tell me, prove it to me. I want to
Mm,
see the
mm,
evidence.
mm.
There is no evidence. And Einstein said there is no optical experiment by which it can be established that the Earth is moving. What I'm saying, the Michelson-Narayan experiment, is there is an optical experiment by which anyone with a tripod and a camera can establish perfectly well that the Earth is not moving.
Yeah.
It's this is a slam dunk, Giles. I would not be going to. I would be making a complete idiot of myself if I was going to Stonehenge
Well, good.
and
I'll tell you what.
and promoting this and I was wrong.
Well,
But
good. I mean, good luck at Stonehenge. And that's why I've got you on Kind of Sound, because it's great to have these views put out there. I'm an open-minded person, so I might go out with my camera, my tripod, and I'm looking forward to looking at one of the books that you mentioned, having a look at the film, and it's food for thought, ladies and gentlemen, on Kind of Sound, and we're spreading kindness around the world, and enjoy Stonehenge, chanting, spreading the love, spreading the information as it comes to you, as these mystical revelations happen. And why not a gardener from Wales?
Oh,
That's what I say.
Giles, if anybody wants to see me, I'm going to put a little pyramid on the top of my. I've got a white V-Dub crafter van. I'm going to put a pyramid on top of it and light it up in the car park.
Love it.
And I'm going to be spreading leaflets and I'll be in my poncho. And if they let me take my staff in, it'll have a golden pineapple on the top of it. Just so people recognise me.
So look for the golden pineapple and the glowing pyramid, ladies and gentlemen. You can't go far wrong. And we're going to put in the description. We'll put the Facebook page where you've
Static
collated a
Earth.
lot.
Oh, and Giles, if anybody's looking at the screen, this
Oh
is
yeah,
it in
hold
there?
that still. Yep, that's good.
That's the QR code for Static Earth on Facebook.
Lovely. So you can zap that. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, then in the description, just click the link in the description. Well done, my friend. I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy solstice to you. And we'll see you
Thank
soon.
you, and to you.